Welcome to Roll to Hit Gaming's Impressions. In this video, we conclude our game showcase. We've gone into the box, through the rules, and out onto the table. Let's head into the game room for your Roll to Hit Gaming Impressions host.
Welcome back. I'm Lucas from Roll to Hit Gaming, and today I'll give you my impressions of Bureaunauts, the initial game from new publisher Fox and Ox Creations. Before we get to the review, let's take one brief final look back at Bureaunauts. Every day starts the same. The alarm goes off, coffee brews, and the shower washes away the night before. You put on your suit, tie, and space helmet, and off you go for another day in the life of a corporate intern. In Bureaunauts, players wade through the bureaucracy of the corporation, dreaming of one day becoming CEO. You'll explore space in search of ancient relics, fight off space pirates and solar jellies as you complete your career goals, advancing through the ranks. At game end, the board of directors will cast their votes and determine the new CEO and the winner of Bureaunauts. The first thing that interested me about this game was definitely the theme. The idea of fighting corporate bureaucracy in order to advance through the ranks to become CEO of the corporation, in, of course, a very tongue-in-cheek kind of way, was appealing, and I feel like it comes across pretty well as you play. Now, we'll talk more about how the theme integrates with this one as we move along. Off the top, I gotta tell you, this game is a little more random than I'd like, and the end game is a bit of a head scratcher, as the decision is also kind of random. But, that theme again, as someone who works in the corporate sphere, I can't tell you how many times over the years I've thought to myself, why is this company making that decision? Now, before we get too deep into this, I need you to understand what kind of game this is, which, of course, you can check out in our first look video by following the eye in the upper right corner of your screen. This is a light game that feels to me like it was designed for a group of friends to grab a beer, grab some peanuts, and sit around their table having a light-hearted good time. If you're expecting a low random, epic space strategy game, I think you're going to be disappointed. The rulebook for this one is very refreshing. It's short and simple to understand, and most references to other rules are called out, pointing you to the appropriate page. That helped us get into the game quickly and find the answers we were looking for as the game went along, keeping the game moving at a great clip. Big kudos from me on this rulebook. Next up, let's talk about the art and components. Now, if you've watched Roll to Hit Gaming for any period of time, you know that art and components are a category that I put a lot of weight into. I get the artistic choices in this game. There's almost an 8-bit Atari throwback to our childhood kind of art, but I think I would have preferred a different choice. The style was a bit distracting for me, and I felt like the same kind of feel could have been achieved with perhaps a more cartoony, almost a Jetsons kind of style, which I think might have complemented this game just a little more. Now, that being said, if you're into this type of art style, then I think you're going to find this to your liking. As always, art's going to be a personal preference thing. The components here are okay. Everything is good enough quality and works well in the game. I felt like the boards and the tokens were great cardboard stock, and those are going to hold up very well over time. I suppose my biggest disappointment with the components would be the space phone dials. They certainly serve their purpose, but they're a little thin when compared to other dials used in other games. We have some folks in our gaming group who can be a little rough on components, so I'm worried about how well these will hold up over time. The cards are fairly standard quality, and I feel that they are actually the artistic shining point for this game. When the space grid is all set up on the table, it looks pretty cool, but let's take a moment to talk about how that setup works. When you set up your space grid, you'll lay the directions cards across the top and side, which will give you an 80-card grid that make up your play area. This really works, and I don't know a better way to have a variable board like these cards create, but it took longer to set up than I would have liked, especially for a game of this weight. As someone without a ton of patience, I found the setup a little tedious, so leave those duties to the more patient, more detail-oriented members of your group and let them set this one up for you. Theme comes back into the game in the action step of the file paperwork phase. Each action you wish to take will cost you an almighty photon token. Now, these tokens are the currency used in this game, and I felt the hassle it takes to get anything done in the corporation with this mechanic. That being said, the rulebook suggests starting with a higher budget for a more quick start, and I would strongly encourage you to do that. This got us into the actions quicker and got the game moving. Now, you can obviously toy with the number and find what works for your group, but we simply doubled it, and it worked really well for us. When players try to do the same action or resolve career goals of a new rank at the same time, they have to schedule a meeting to determine priority. Again, that theme. Nothing can be accomplished without first talking about it until we're blue in the face, and this feels just like that. Basically, you're going to use rock, paper, scissors to resolve these conflicts. Combat is simple and straightforward. Your ship just has to be a higher level than your enemy, and you can use photons to boost your ship level. At the end of the turn, if you're on the same space card with an enemy, you become damaged. I felt that combat was one of the facets of the game where players had the most control. You can find ship upgrades through exploration, or you can take actions and pay photons to upgrade your ship. Now, this is going to allow you to set out in search of combat, knowing the outcome, which will help you complete some of your career goals more efficiently than others. Career goals are the backbone of this game. Each player has 5 of them, and the first to complete all 5 triggers game end. These also allow you to seed your influence with the department heads to better your chances at game end, but let's come back to that. As I said, combat career goals can be planned for and counted on, as can under budget career goals, since those just cost money. The relic hunter and ship upgrade goals require exploration and some luck. Now, each card you visit and flip on the space grid has a chance of revealing 5 or 6 different things. So when you have to count on something specific, it can really delay your strategy at times. Other times, you'll come across relic after relic after relic when you don't really need them. And this is where the career goal pool comes into play. During setup, you'll have your 5 goals, and you can seed them in the order of your choice, setting up your initial strategy. If that strategy starts to stall out, you can take an action to swap one of your career goals with one of the goals in the career pool, and another action lets you reorder your career goals. These actions are both in place to mitigate the random, which is a good thing. And typically, these actions make a huge difference in how your game unfolds. When you complete career goals, you seed your influence cards onto the department head boards into the various stacks. And at the end of the game, these are shuffled up and one is pulled from each stack. If 3 of your cards come up in a round, you win. Otherwise, you'll need to get 2 rounds worth of soft majority victories. As you can tell, this is fairly random. The only way to mitigate this is to try to make sure you get more cards into these stacks than your opponents. That will increase your chances, but you're still going to be at the mercy of the shuffle. Now, admittedly, I don't really care for an ending like this. I wish there were a more reliable path to victory. It works with this theme, though, because as we all know, the right person doesn't usually get promoted, and that's just the way it is in corporate life. We deal with it and cash our check. I would suggest you make sure your players understand how the game is going to end and how the winner is going to be determined. And I think this will probably be the difference in a flat or a climactic end to your game. Finally, we had players who didn't enjoy this game. We also had players who did, that frankly I expected would dislike it very much. I fall into the latter category. I don't typically like games with this much random, but the theme captured me and I had a great time playing this game. For that reason, I'm going to give Bureaunauts a die rating of D8. With the right group and in the right setting, I think this game has an opportunity to shine. So, if you think what I've said in this review might interest you, then I think you should look into it. Thank you for watching our review of Bureaunauts. I hope you've enjoyed it and that you find it useful in helping you decide whether or not this title is for you. Let me know in the comments below your impressions of this game. For more of our first looks, reviews, and playthroughs, visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll find links to our Facebook, Twitter, and blog in the description box below. So until next time, I'm Lucas from Roll to Hit Gaming. Have a great one.
Thank you for joining Roll to Hit Gaming to see and hear our impressions of this game. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Facebook and Twitter. Join in the conversation in the comments below.